Alright, so here we are. We're at the Memorial Clinic on base. I'm gonna get my blood drawn for this test. Natty or not.
Coach Greg, in today's video, you've asked for it, and Natty or not, on none other than Shizzy Wizzy. And so Shizzy Lifts just got 1 million followers on Instagram. He's also becoming very popular on YouTube. Guy's a competitive bodybuilder and has an amazing physique. And so he states he's 6'4" and 230 pounds. And he competed on stage at about 207 pounds. And he in fact has another brother called Shizzy, who's also about 6'3.5" inches tall and 280 pounds. Is it in fact possible that this guy is 100% natural? Is it in fact his genetics? After all, look at the size of his brother, 280 pounds. Let's check out his physique right now. And so Patty Cakes Fit post a video. And remember, this guy, he's not natty. He's confirmed. He admits it. And so we're going to compare this guy's physique, who's clearly enhanced, he admits it, to Shizzy's physique, who states it's 100% natural. And so let's compare these physiques and find out. And so in comparing these two guys' physiques, you can clearly see they're both exceptionally developed. And at first glance, I don't see any obvious signs of steroid use. In fact, they both look exceptionally well. I don't see gynecomastia, I don't see acne, I don't see puffy moon faces. Based on the first glances alone, I can't determine whether or not these guys are actually natural. Guy on the left clearly says, I'm not natural. And so you know he's not. But just in looking at them, aside from the fact that they're both gigantic, you can't say natty or not, at least not yet. And did you notice they did not turn around to the rear? And the main weakness in Shizzy's physique is his back is far underdeveloped in comparison to the rest of his physique. His strongest body parts, by far, clearly the arms. Second to that, the chest. And so when you see a guy with massively built arms and an exceptional chest, you can't help but thinking, this guy, he can't be natural. But if you look at him and look at his weakest body parts, you'd probably say, hell, that guy could be natural. And so just look at Shizzy's back. Pretend there was no chest, no arms, and just look at his back. His back does in fact look like it could be 100% natural. And his legs, given the fact that he's 6'4", probably a lot harder to build them, but he doesn't seem overly massive. But his arms and chest, well, they are very suspicious. June 11, 2018, that's 5 years ago. It's one of the first posts he's ever made. That would be 5 years ago. He's 27 now. That would make him 22 years of age. And so at 22, check out this guy's physique. Clearly defined six-pack, exceptional arms, and does seem to have muscle in his legs. Clearly, the guy has been training harder than last time and for several years. This is a top-notch quality physique. You can see his weakness is he has a frame of that of an ectomorph. His shoulders, the clavicle width, they're not all that wide. He has a small waist, small hips, and so to me, that shows he is literally an ectomorph. An ectomorph is somebody with a smaller frame that has a harder time to build muscle. A mesomorph, on the other hand, would have wider shoulders, wider frame, and much easier to put on muscle. September 17, 2028, doing a side tricep pose, you can clearly see that his arms well developed, not just the biceps, but the triceps as well. And so from the side, especially given the fact that he has a very developed chest, he looks very thick from the side. The legs, remember, the guy is very tall, close to 6'4". He doesn't have very thick thighs. But of course he doesn't. It's going to take him a long time to put muscle on that tall frame. October 19, 2028. Check out the abs, the shreds on this guy. He's lifted up the white shirt, revealing the clearly defined six-pack. And the quads, the separation. I can see a vein running across it. Very low, single-digit body fat. And so if he was in fact 100% natural, he might in fact be limiting his muscle growth potential. Very difficult to put on a lot of size when you're natural, when you're at single-digit body fat. And so could it be that he dieted down to this point and decided to add in SARMs, perhaps anabolic steroids, to help maintain the muscle during his cut? That may be the case. July 14, 2020. Haven't been 207 pounds since 2017. Feels good to be this light. And so it's been 3 years. He has not weighed as light as 207 pounds in 3 years. And so he's clearly on a cut. And so you can see the arms and the back, a lot of detail. And so he's been cutting very hard, got down to 207 pounds, a weight he had not been in 3 years. It may in fact be possible that during this cut, he perhaps took some SARMs, perhaps steroids, to maintain this muscle, but we can't know as of yet. We need more evidence. November 16, 2020. Hit 315 for 2 today on bench. Personal PR. Went back and hit it again to make sure it wasn't tripping. Got 275 for 8 right away. I gained 5 pounds since my last video on Friday. Been eating big, just trying to be a hog. And so marching in his US Coast Guard, you can't see the development that he actually has. But as you see with his shirt off, flexing slightly, the guy has a ton of muscle. Remember, 315 pounds for 2 reps, probably has him as a 1 rep max around 330, 335. That is not exceptionally strong. And so if he was on steroids at this point, would you not expect him to lift more than this? And so let's compare his strength to someone else who also claimed Natty. David Lade. David Lade could bench close to 400 pounds, was very close to this guy's height, and not nearly as big. And remember, I did a Natty or not on David Lade, and I said I do not believe he's natural. He put on so much strength so quickly, it didn't make sense he was natural. Yet this guy can only bench press approximately 315 pounds, weighing well over 200. To me, this is an argument in his favor. If he was in fact enhanced, would he not be getting more than 2 reps with 3 plates on each side on the bench? But remember, this is 3 years ago. What has happened in the last 3 years? December 18, 2020, day 5 of quarantine. And so he's lifting with plastic and shitty weights. And so remember, it's going to be a lot harder to put on muscle during quarantine than when the world was open. Even when working out with your mom's plastic weights, you can still get a filthy pumped. I hate these weights, haha. I feel like I'm working out in preschool gym. January 11, 2021. And so there's been 24 days that has passed since that day 5 of quarantine where he's working out with his mom's plastic weights. Look at the physique he has at this point. Remember, it's been 24 days in quarantine. Stay tuned for the journey on competing for natural bodybuilding competitions and more. And so he's preparing to do a natural bodybuilding competitions, but in the last 24 days, look at the change in physique. He's small, then big, and what you're going to see is he's going to get small and big yet again. And so why is his weight and size going up and then down? Why is it fluctuating? If you are in fact 100% natural, what you should notice is very slow, consistent, and steady gains. You would not see rapid rises in size and strength, followed by times when you lose size and strength, going back and forth. When you see someone get bigger and then smaller, gaining strength, losing strength, what that often means is they're going on and off cycles. They're cycling. They're cycling performance-enhancing drugs, namely SARMs and or steroids. In comparison, somebody could be, for example, on HRT, and what they notice is slow and steady, consistent gains. In either case, the person is not natural. One thing to take note of is sometimes camera angles, photos, the downlighting can make you appear both larger and leaner. And so it's very difficult to compare one photo in one circumstance to that of another. And so is it perhaps he's just leaning forward, the biceps closer to the camera and the body, making him look larger than last time? I don't know. But what I do see in this photo is a guy that's highly suspicious. In this photo right here, I do not personally think that he's natural. Fast forward to August 17 and August 29, we see no progress photos. There's 9 months where we don't see him posting any photos. Why is that? If a guy's claiming to be natural and he sees photos that are highly suspicious, is it possible that he chose deliberately to not show any of those photos? After all, if a guy is posting on social media consistently and then suddenly there's no post for many months, what could explain the lack of posts at this time? And if you look at his posts 9 months later, I don't see a lot of progress. As he's doing the lat pull downs with the gray shirt covering up, I don't see a lot of muscle. You see his legs, upper body, I don't see a lot of back muscle development. And why is he covering himself up? If he's confident in his physique, why not show it? He's been shirtless in many of the photos previously, and so why is he showing himself doing this all covered up in the gym, sweating harder than last time. Clearly very lean, very vascular as he's flexing the forearms, but not wanting to show what's underneath. Sometimes when people go to the gym and they cover up, they are in fact suffering from something known as body dysmorphia. I don't know if he possibly has it at this point. Perhaps he was larger in the past, got off of the supplements and lost some muscle, and because he lost muscle, he was less confident with his physique. As of late, the guy looks larger than last time, larger than ever. He looks absolutely incredible. And we're seeing a lot more of his photos, a lot more of his videos. He's posting more than ever before. Perhaps he's far more confident now because he has an incredible physique. September 8, 2021, doing the back lat spread. He does have some back muscle, but he doesn't seem overly enhanced in this photo. I don't see signs of steroid use. It looks to be as if this could be 100% natural. Turning to the front, you can see exceptional definition in the quads. And the last photo, the arms. Look how big his arms are. If all you were to do is see his arms, you would think there's no way this guy is natural. But remember, we just looked at his back and it did in fact look natural. And so could it be that because he has such good arm genetics that we're assuming the guy isn't natural because his arms are so big? When in comparison, shouldn't we be comparing his entire body? February 23, 2022. Now, look at the physique in this pose. At this pose, zoom in on the quads. Notice the extreme vascularity in the legs. To me, when you have this kind of vascularity in the legs, it's a very good sign that you are in fact enhanced. When you take anabolic steroids, it increases the red blood cell count in the body and you become more vascular. Oftentimes when you take steroids, your blood pressure goes up and you have way more vascularity than ever before. And because of his enhanced vascularity, the definition in the quads and so on, I do believe that in this particular pose, that he's taking something. And with the arm over the head, bicep pose, looking at the legs, you see shredded abdominals, vascularity in the quads, and remember, he's 6'4" and an ectomorph. Much harder at 6'4" with a smaller bone structure to put on this kind of muscle. June 30, 2022. 3-month ab progress. I hate doing cardio, but I'm doing stairs for 10 to 15 minutes after my workouts, and I feel so much better afterwards. Highly advise. And so in his examining his physique here, I don't think he's made a tremendous amount of progress in the last 4 years. And of course he has muscle, but it doesn't look like a guy who's not natural. In these particular photos, I think he's natural. And considering this guy now has 1 million followers, this photo has 220 likes and 0 comments. And so fast forward a year, and the guy literally competes in a bodybuilding competition and wins all 3 categories, but simply doesn't win the overall. And remember, only a year has progressed and the guy's been training for over 10 years. And so the amount of gains he has left in the tank, very minimal. Perhaps he could gain 3, maybe at best 5 pounds of muscle in a year. And so side chest. Guy has crazy, massive arms, strided delts, full chest, obliques, looks thick and bubbly. And the legs, despite being 6'4", has great calves. Striation in the glutes, and you can clearly see a line dividing the hamstring and the quad. That photo in that pose, that does not look like somebody who's natural. Is it possible that someone on earth with the best genetics could achieve this physique natural? Of course it is. But the question is, did he? Moving on to the most muscular. Most muscular pose. Look at the traps on this guy. They're popping out harder than last time. That coupled with crazy, massive developed arms, a massive chest, and quads popping out at 6'4", does this look like a guy who's natural? And switching over to the side tricep. Look at the hanging horseshoe on the back of this guy's arm. Absolutely incredible. The guy is chiseled, dice. He has amazing obliques, abs, chest, hamstrings, calves, everything. And more classic pose as he's kneeling down. Look at the arm. The arm, the abs, the oblique, an incredible pose, smiling to the camera, bicep higher than a delt, an exquisite, genuine looking pose. Love the way he looks in this pose. And here, receiving the trophy, posing to the side, look at the definition. This guy is dialed in. And the quads, remember, 6'4", going to struggle to put on meat on his legs. He has significantly improved the size of his quads while dieting for competition. Most oftentimes what happens is when you're a natural bodybuilder and you diet down to this extent, you will lose a lot of the muscle during that contest prep. Remember, as a natural athlete, his testosterone levels are going to go on the decline. He never liked doing cardio. He struggled to do 10 or 15 minutes at the end of his workout. And so to get into this kind of shredded condition, he would have to dramatically reduce his calories and or do a shit ton of cardio, both of which would have resulted in a more stringy appearance. But rather than getting a stringy appearance or looking flat, it looks as though he grew into the show. And so it looked as if his muscles expanded, giving that ever-desired shrink-wrapped appearance to the muscle. If this is 100% natural, why would anyone take performance-enhancing drugs? Look at the freaking biceps on this guy. If you told me this guy was on test and trend and he looked like this, I'd say, wow, amazing genetics even with test and trend. But remember, this is not slow and steady, consistent progress that resulted in this physique. I saw up and down swings and then suddenly, kabow, blammo, oh my goodness, what happened to him? The thickness in this man, the size of the biceps, arms above. He's not even flexing properly. He looks like a Sasquatch. And so remember, if it was his dream along with his brothers to be sponsored by a supplement company to have their dream job, then what were the chances that after training natural, perhaps for 10 years and nothing getting any traction, having almost no comments and no likes, to suddenly have the temptation to use and or abuse performance enhancing drugs? My personal opinion is that no matter who you are, if you've been at the sport for a long time and you love bodybuilding, you're eventually going to consider using or not using steroids. And so if you've been trying to do it natural for a long time, perhaps you no longer have any gains left in the tank, you reach your natural genetic potential, and you want to go further in the sport, you are going to be tempted to try something. And did it work? Look at his physique. He won all 3 categories. He's sponsored by a supplement company, has 1 million followers. And so in the end, what do I think? Do I think he's natural or enhanced? Personally, I think he's enhanced. I don't believe that this guy's natural. And so I did my research. I watched all of his videos on YouTube. The first video that he ever posted from 2 years ago, he stated he's getting his blood work.
All right, so here we are. We're at the Memorial Clinic on base. I get my blood drawn for this test. Natty or not.
And so he's getting his blood work done for a test to see if he's natty or not.
Just so you know, we can't be allowing any cameras or pictures or anything, just for like HIPAA stuff.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
And so they're trying to get footage of this blood work, but they were told you can't take footage. They said, hey, we sneaked in some footage. Don't worry, we're going to show it to you.
They said we couldn't record. I got some few clips.
Some leaky footage.
Yeah, some leaked.
We're gonna see if we're natty or not.
Yeah.
And so he states, we're going to see if we're natty or not. And so I said, well, I can't wait to go over his blood work. This is going to be an easy video. All I'm going to have to do is look at his blood work and see, are his testosterone levels through the roof? Are they in the tank? What are his LH and FSH? What about his SHBG? His bioavailable testosterone, free testosterone, his AST, ASL. We are going to see whether or not this guy is natural or if he's not. And lo and behold, nothing. And so he goes and gets his blood work done in order to prove that he's natural, and then 2 months goes by and he doesn't show his blood work. And so what could be the cause of that? And so let's put on our thinking caps and think, what might be the reason for that? Remember, he's getting his blood work done to show that he's natural. He gets his blood work done and then doesn't show his blood work. Could it be that he thought, oh, if I show my blood work, Coach Greg is going to out me? He's like a detective. If the guy was actually natural, why didn't he just post his blood work? I mean, why wouldn't he? What did he have to lose? He went to get his blood work, say, hey, this is going to prove that I'm natural, yet he didn't show his blood work. And could it be that it takes more than 2 months to get your blood work back? Of course not. And so in my professional opinion, what do I think? I think that he's not natural. I think that if he were natural, he could simply get his blood work done when he looks his best, show us the blood work, and then we could say, yes, this is the blood work of a guy that appears to be natural versus a guy that is enhanced. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think this guy is natural? Have you seen the changes he made in his physique, especially in the last year? Why would he not post his blood work? Looking for natural supplements? Remember, all these are natural. You can use them in any drug tested competition. Please click the link in the description and use code Greg. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch one of the booths for the cookbooks, especially Cookbook 3.0, training books, coaching plans by me and my team, the Circle Diet book, the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. You can get all that on my website. Click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off. And until next time, I am out.